Let's use natural light to create better photos to help you sell your products. One of the main steps I like to do is find the best lighting in my home. It's pretty messy, so we kind of organize and stage it out so that it looks nice and clean. The biggest game changers in taking nice photos is the lighting. I find that south-facing windows work the best and they provide the best lighting. The number one thing I notice with photos in product photography and woodworkers and makers is the natural lighting. It's not too hard to find really good lighting in your home. The best way is to find a south-facing window, which is one right here, to give you the best type of lighting for your photos. So for one of my first things I like to do is clean up the table. As you see over here, we tidied it up a bit and stage it around the window so that it gives us the nicest lighting possible. Depending on what gear you use, you can definitely do this with just your iPhone and step up your iPhone photos with natural light. It makes a world of difference. Or you can use any type of video camera. Currently, I use a Fujifilm X-T30, which I really like the Fujifilm platform. Once I'm happy with the placement of the tray, now it's time to take some photos. I take a bunch of different photos from different angles, some close up, some a little farther. Typically I take about 20 photos and usually probably only use 5, but once I'm happy with that, I take it to my editing app, which is VSCO. Here I'm going to show you a quick workflow that I use with VSCO. It's super simple. I have a few presets loaded up into VSCO that I've used for many years. I really like to use these filters in a subtle way. Here I'm selecting photos that I'm happy with. And this just gets the photos into the VSCO app itself. And once I'm here, I typically just deal with one photo and edit that to my liking. And I'm just finding the filter that I like the most. I typically choose between 2 or 3 filters that I like. Depending on your preference, definitely choose the vibe that you're going for. But also sometimes it looks very harsh when it's at full saturation. But when you slightly bring it down, it makes it look a lot better and a little bit more real. A lot of these type of filters accentuate the saturation, contrast, brightness, and a little bit of tone for the photos. I often mess with the exposure a bit. I like it to be just slightly more exposed for my photos. Contrast is another setting I like to play with to find the setting that I'm happy with. Typically, I just add just a slight bit of contrast to make the color pop in the grain. The sweet thing about VSCO is you can copy your edits and paste it onto your other photos. This is ideal because it makes the process so much faster, and if you need to do slight more adjustments on each photo, you definitely can as well. There are some times when it may be a little bit more overexposed or whatnot in each separate photo, so you can adjust that slightly. Another sweet thing with VSCO is just quickly rotating your photos so they're in the vertical format. As you know, majority of social media is vertical form, and I often just try to keep that consistent. So with all the things done, it is now time to save it to your camera roll and then upload your photos. So here's a quick comparison of before and after. I like how the edits just add a little bit more color and brightness and pop to the photos. Batching out content is pretty important in this day and age. Once you get your setup, it's very easy to just batch out a bunch of photos for your Shopify, for Instagram. If you want to make some reels, it's super easy to do once you have that set up. Here's a quick tip when shooting with natural light is when you have your natural light window like over here on this side, you want to shoot parallel to the window. So your camera is shooting parallel to the window and not shooting directly at the window. If you do shoot directly into the window, oftentimes it does wash out everything else in the background, whereas you can manipulate the natural light by shooting more at like a perpendicular 45-degree angle to the light itself. I find that shooting in this type of way creates the best type of photos. There are people who shoot directly into the window, which makes it a little bit more intentional, which you could definitely do. And I think the biggest thing is just experiment and kind of create the style that you want to portray and create the vision that you want to show for your products. Ultimately, the products that you build are the ones that you want to showcase. So your focus and attention to all the photos will be towards that product. Whichever way you feel like it portrays it the best, I think you should go for it.